Hello, this is Tim from Two Blokes from Blighty, and before we get into today's episode, we're going to hear a little promo from Casting Views. Hello, Dan. Take it away, Dan.
That lovely Dan. Isn't he lovely?
Chap.
Fancy taking a humorous trip down a random topic each week? You do? Well, you're in luck. Casting Views, presented by me, Dan, and a host of guests, bring you just that. With topics from the world of entertainment, science, sport, and everyday life, there's bound to be a topic that's going to inform and amuse. Catch Casting Views every Sunday on all listening platforms now.
What a breath of fresh air that man is.
That boy's a Hoxton hero, skinny fit jeans and dressed in pink. How he dresses, I care zero, as long as he don't spill my drink. Tim. That girl's an indie Cindy, yellow haircut and polka dot dress. I don't care if she thinks she's indie. How she's different is anyone's guess. This is Two Blokes from Blighty. I am one of your regular hosts, Joey Fitzgerald, and I'm joined by the immaculate Tim Fitzgerald. Tim, how are you feeling?
I haven't thought about Hadouken in a very long time.
Well, I don't know what it was. I was doing the washing up earlier, and that boy, that girl popped into my head, and I thought, do you know what? That's going to be my thing for Two Blokes.
They're definitely one of these bands that were better in the studio than live, and this is coming from someone who's seen them twice.
I saw them once at a festival, and they were okay.
They were okay. Every time I've seen them, it's been okay. But whoever their like touring like audio engineer and mixer is needs to reevaluate some shit.
I mean, I don't think they're still going, are they?
No, I really doubt it.
Are you suggesting they are Hadouken?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
They're
Tim, well done. That is the one. Tim, we're going to jump right in and go.
Pub quiz question of the week. Not a jingle. That's a sound effect at best.
What we have there is a fucking jingle, Tim.
Pub quiz question of the week. Very short and simple. What is the tennis Grand Slam that's played on a clay surface?
The US Open?
It is not the US Open, but you'll find it out at the end of the episode.
I think it's the Australian one.
I'm not saying yes or no.
I don't know. Yeah, I did this last time. I'm not having another Marie Curie horrific incident because it really dogged me for the whole episode. Tim.
Yeah.
This episode... hold on. Let me think about this. This episode goes out on the 31st of July.
Well, it's payday for me.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
That's right.
Tim, what day of the week is that?
Oh, it's not like I've been counting down to it. It's only a bloody Wednesday.
It is Wednesday, my dudes. 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 Watch him Wednesday. Watch him dude. 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 He'd be Wednesday down the street. He'd be Wednesday to the beat. He'd be Wednesday down the street. He'd be Wednesday to the beat. My dudes. It is Wednesday. My dudes. It is Wednesday.
Tim, it's Wednesday.
Yep.
That's a return of a classic. How did that make you feel?
Nostalgic and yet, what's the word I'm looking for?
It's the word you're looking for.
Not aroused. You know that picture of the 1,000-yard stare?
Oh yeah. The guy
that.
from is it taken? It's meant to be the Vietnam War.
I think so.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, a bit of that.
Well, good. That's where I wanted you to be.
Yeah.
Tim, I got a couple of days for you. Couple of cheeky days of the week for you.
Hit me with them.
There's only 3. Okay.
Short selection.
So the first one is National Raspberry Cake Day.
Oh, it's not bad. I like raspberry cake.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
The second one is unique. We've never had... Well, actually, I'll explain why it's unique, but it's not unique. We've never had a day that actually has 2 days in the calendar before.
Really? This is a weekend.
So this is July the 31st and December 2nd are both this day. And that is National Mutt Day.
So mutts get 2 days of the year.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
And then finally is National Avocado Day.
Well, I'm going to go with Mutt Day.
Because dogs are elite, right?
Dogs are absolutely elite. And here's how you can celebrate it. Your audience, go out.
Do it doggy style today.
Do it doggy style today, but then go out and pick up a dog. And then on, what was it, December 1st?
Second.
December 2nd, go put it back.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Get a dog for the summer.
That's good. Yeah, I like it. And give it back for
Please
Christmas.
don't abandon dogs.
Give it back. Give it back to the person for Christmas.
Oh, okay.
So,
send it back to the pound.
No.
No?
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Keep the dog forever. And on July 31st and December 2nd, tell it it's a good boy or girl.
Or girl. Yeah.
Or
Now,
girl.
audience, the way you can celebrate this, actually, send us a photo of your dog or a nearby dog.
Yes.
Easy.
Yes, I like
But
it.
it can't be a pedigree. That's the rule.
If it's a pedigree, we'll ban you from the Discord. But no, we want to see pictures of your dogs, please.
Or a nearby dog.
Or a
If you
nearby
don't own a
dog. If you own a dog and send us a picture of a nearby dog, you'll be banned from the Discord.
Yeah, and equally, if there's a nearby dog and you don't send us a photo of it, you'll be banned from the Discord.
We'll know. Trust
We'll know.
us. We'll know.
Yeah.
Okay, Tim, we got a hell of a running order for you today.
We do.
You've put a couple of things on here, a couple of very exciting things. I've put a video of a whale flipping a boat over. So where do you want to start?
Up to you. I mean, I think I put a lot more on the running order this week.
Yeah. Well, you originally cancelled our session on Wednesday. We are on Saturday because, and I quote, I have nothing to talk about.
Yeah,
so between Wednesday and Saturday, a lot has happened.
It's all been go.
Yeah, it's all been go.
Yeah.
But Tim, dealer's choice. You filled it. You tell us how to run it.
Well, I guess I'll start with the first thing. I bought a car.
You bought a car.
How
did it feel?
I had a lot of anxiety for the rest of the day because I'd spent some money.
Yeah.
So I've got a Citroen C3 exclusive, 2010.
Why is it a C3 exclusive? Because I think it might just be a C3, and you've paid £100 more because it says exclusive on it.
Well, they had a C3. It had the word exclusive on it. I don't know anything about cars.
Okay.
But it's only got 40,000 miles on the clock, despite it being a 14-year-old car, which is great. That's really low mileage. Took it for a test drive yesterday.
Nice.
It's really fun to drive. Like, it feels like you can just throw that steering wheel around.
Maybe don't say things like that before you test.
Well, yeah, maybe not on the test, but like it just feels like really responsive in a great way. Like the car I'm learning in, for example, the clutch on the thing feels really low in comparison to this. And I know that I know the car I'm learning is like a 1.2 engine. And this is a 1.6. So like,
okay,
it's quite a bit different.
That's quite a big engine for your first car, Tim.
Well, it's got
our first car didn't even have a litre engine.
Wow.
It was that, I think, I can't remember how much it was, but it was less than a 1 litre.
But it's a good looking car. It's got a fun gimmick.
Has it got a name?
I'm still working that out.
I know you've had some suggested.
There's been some suggested.
You don't want to call it CC?
The CC's a contender. I do like CC.
Well, it's clearly not a contender because you've had the car a few days now, and you've obviously still not named it.
Well, to be honest, I haven't thought about the name that much.
Well, think about the name now. What do you want to call it?
Well, I don't know.
Call a random name generator. Call it Dominic Littlewood.
I'm going to go on...
call it Dominic Littlewood.
I don't want to drive around in Dominic Littlewood.
Why not?
That word is fake. What should I call my 2010 Citroen C3? Naming a car can be personal. Consider the car's personality. I just want names.
Just oh my God,
it actually suggested CC along with C3PO.
C3PO is pretty good.
C3PO is pretty... It might have to be C3PO.
Call it Moon Moon.
Moon Moon?
Moon Moon.
Why do I know Moon Moon?
from a vampire name generator, and they put the word moon in there for the day and the year that someone was born. So yeah, I can't remember the exact date, but if it was something like the 19th of September, your wolf name was Moon Moon.
I like it.
So
C3PO is what I'm landing on right now.
Okay, nice. That sounds fun. Pleased?
Very pleased. Very, very pleased.
Good.
I didn't talk about the gimmick. I mentioned the gimmick, but I didn't talk about it. So it's got a little.
I thought that it had that. I thought it's because it had the badge that said exclusive.
No, it's got like a blue badge in the front with a man in a wheelchair on it,
and you can park anywhere you like.
Yeah. As long as I put my hazards on.
That's great. That's good.
So it's got a little like handle thing, kind of in between the what do you call those like flaps that come down for the windscreen? Sun visors, whatever.
The flaps that come down.
You know what I mean? What are they called?
The sun visors. I don't fucking know.
Sun flaps. There we go. People will know what I mean when I say sun flaps.
Get your sun flaps out, Tim.
At the beach. So the little flaps that come down to protect your eyes from the sun, there is a handle between them, and you pull it, and the whole roof of the car kind of comes back to reveal like this big fucking panoramic windscreen.
Nice.
Pretty cool. It's nice.
That is pretty cool. Well,
yeah, it's very gimmicky, but I imagine it'd be quite nice if you were driving like in the country, for example.
So you can be driving at 70 miles an hour down a single lane road in the country and looking directly up. That sounds like a really good thing, and I'm sure it won't affect your insurance.
It's a bird watcher's dream.
It's good. I like it.
Yeah.
Very good. Tim.
Yeah.
I spoke about a video of a boat being flipped over by a whale.
Yeah, let's talk about this. I'm going to pull this up.
Click it and watch it. So the caption is, there's a pissed off whale patrolling the waters of Portsmouth. Head on a swivel if you're out there. Tell me what you've just seen, Tim.
I've just seen an orca. It looks like an orca. It's not
an orca, no. That
looks like a blue whale.
It's a fucking big whale.
That's a big whale, just like breaching the water and fucking up this little boat. I don't think it entirely flips it, but it gets it to a point enough where the whole thing capsizes. Yeah,
well, it lands on the back of this boat, right? And if you're watching the front, you can see the driver of the boat fall out underneath it.
Yeah, which would be terrifying.
It would. It certainly would.
Yeah, and then obviously the people who are filming are just like, nah, nope, out.
So that's part of the thing I wanted to put it in there. I really like the reaction of the guy driving the boat, because he sees this, he watches it, he sees the other boat go upside down, and he hesitates for a second, and then he grabs the steering wheel and is like, let's get out of here.
Talk about how much of a dickhead whales can be.
I like it.
I don't get me wrong, I think it's really funny when animals are dickheads. But like, you know, the whole cats being assholes thing, I think it's really funny when they're just like pushing buttons for people. Yeah. But like, have you seen the videos? Like, there was a really famous one on Blue Planet, I think it was, where a group of 3 or 4 orcas were basically rocking this bit of ice that a seal was sat on until it like grew tired enough and just lost grip.
That wasn't being an asshole. They were trying to eat the seal, Tim.
Yeah, but like that's a really crazy way of doing it. But then the other thing that I saw that convinced me that orcas are assholes. Have you ever seen the video of the orca just punting a seal like 30 feet into the air?
I have, but once again, that's how they hunt.
But that's mental for a start.
No, it is mental, but the way that they hunt is they swim incredibly quickly towards something, dodge it at the last second and wallop it with their tail in the hope that it absolutely cripples their prey so that they can't get away. So when it does that, when it was punting a seal, it was trying to break its bones so it couldn't escape.
It broke its bones on the way down. It was launched like 30 feet up and then just slapped onto the water again.
Can I just say, orcas are metal as fuck.
They are ridiculous animals.
One of my favourite animals. They are fucking awesome.
They're assholes and I love them.
I agree, and they're so clever as well. They're like calculated assholes.
Yeah,
I like it. I'm a big fan. Tim, on our running order, let's cross off whales being assholes.
Sure.
We've put something here. So last season we had a budget, right? We had a budget. We spent the whole thing on a man with webbed feet and a dishwasher body.
Yeah.
It went down well, I think, with our loving audience.
It didn't go the direction I thought it would, to be honest. I thought we were going to get some sort of product validation, but what we wound up with was an eldritch nightmare.
Yeah. But I thought in Game Club Pod Towers, in our regular meetings that we have there when we're planning the seasons, I thought, let's get a celebrity back. So, should be here any minute.
Joey sat on his throne and pondered.
I did. Should be here any minute. We do have a new celebrity coming in.
Was that a knock? I couldn't see anything or hear anything.
No, can you knock for me? Because the thing isn't coming through.
Oh, okay. Let me get the door.
Okay, sorry, I'll go and get that one.
All right, thank you. I went and got all of them last season.
Yeah, let me play the jingle while I go and get it, and then we'll have a conversation.
All right.
Move, you bastards! Move, you lazy bastards! There's a French bastard in these mountains called Loop. Bastard.
There he is.
Hey up, you bastard.
It's Sean Bean, everyone.
Hello, you bunch of bastards.
So in lieu of our travel agent where we send Joey on holiday, we send Sean Bean to go and look at things. Sean Bean, what have you seen?
Tim, I've seen some bastards.
Where have you seen the bastards, Sean Bean? What were they doing?
They're everywhere, Tim. They're being bastards.
Can you give me specifics? Like, where were you?
No, they're bastards.
They're just are the bastards in the room with us, Sean Bean?
Yeah, they're being bastards.
All right. I don't know if there is much else to this conversation.
I'll see you next week, you bastard.
All right. Thank you, Sean Bean, for the first reveal of that. What a great bit.
See you later, you bastard.
All right. Bye.
Shall I play the jingle again?
Sure.
Move, you bastards! Move, you lazy bastards! There's a French bastard in these mountains called Loop. Bastard.
Bastard.
What a bit. He just came in, called everyone a bunch of bastards, and left.
Maybe let's plan what we're going to ask him a bit better next week.
It was caught very off guard.
Well, you didn't know it was Sean Bean. That was a surprise to you.
No, I was very taken aback.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
Sorry, Sean Bean.
Collect yourself.
I didn't get to say anything to Sean because he was just too busy calling everyone a bastard. But he, I'm glad he stopped by, and we'll see more of him. We've budgeted him for the whole series. So if you have any questions, audience, about who Sean Bean has seen, let us know, because let Tim know, because I'm sure Tim will probably speak to him. Or I'm a bit intimidated by him, so
I get it.
Yeah, Tim. You spoke last week about a project that you're doing.
Yeah.
So
I've had one person say they'd be interested in looking at it, and that's enough for me. So.
Was that me?
No, it was actually the Northern boy.
Well, then two of us, Tim.
Wow. Essentially, on my little web development journey, I'm building stuff for my portfolio, and I launched the first version of my Tekken project.
Nice.
I'll be posting a link in the Discord about it if someone can remind me, please and thanks.
Is this available for public use now?
It is. The first version is. So I haven't got everything in there that I want to be in there, but the basic concept is there. So if anyone wants to play around, I know the website is very fucky on load, but just pick a character at the top to give the audience an idea when they hopefully go and look at this.
Well, can you give the audience an idea of what this actually is?
Yeah, so the idea is that it's a site or a web app being aimed at new players and commentators specifically. So if they need a quick reference for matchups between two characters in Tekken 8. So
there was like a Bible that kind of people used before, but it was pretty poorly laid out and optimized, right?
Yeah, it's set out on a Google sheet, and to be honest, I looked at it and said I can do better. It's a lot of work to do better. I'm about 7,000 lines of HTML in, and I'm barely looking at the JavaScript side of things.
Nice. Any feedback on it so far?
I've had a couple of people at work say, yeah, it's cool.
Nice.
But like I said, not all the functionality is in there yet. So what I'm going to be looking at doing is I'm going to be putting a much more like in-depth single-player version of the of the thing. So if characters want like a full players want a full character breakdown, they can look at that. If they want a quick reference for a matchup, they've got that. On the matchup page, my plan is to have the two drop-down menus where you select your character, effectively be a reference point for this JSON file, which will have a bunch of matches just kind of stored in it. And then when it picks up, hey, the player is interested in a match between this character and this character, it'll load the video in between the two tables of the quick match reference. And that way, there's going to be like a high-level match that they can look at between those two characters for reference. Very
cool.
It's just a lot of work.
Very cool, though. Nice. Well, that sounds good. Tim, me or someone will remind you to post a link in the Discord. I've had a look at it. I think it's very cool. I don't do Tekken, but the site itself is impressive, so I think you should be proud of it.
It's not bad for a first swing.
It's good. It's good. And that leads nicely on to something you wanted to talk about.
Yes. Evo was last weekend. Evo, I've talked about it on the podcast before. We did a whole podcast special on it about 3 years ago, if not more.
When do we start the podcast?
We did it when I was living on my own.
Did we?
Yeah. Because I was living in my studio flat at the time.
No, I have no fucking idea.
Yeah. Well, yeah, so I talked about it several years ago, but it's essentially the World Cup of fighting games, but with a bunch of other sports involved. So basically, a bunch of fighting games this weekend. Joey watched a little bit of Guilty Gear.
My boy Zando.
Your boy Zando. I think he came like fourth or something.
He lost.
Yeah, he didn't come first, which means he's last.
If you're not first, you're shit.
So the main games they had there were like Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter 6, that is specifically, Guilty Gear Strive, Tekken 8, Under Night In-Birth. They also had Street Fighter Third Strike along with a bunch of other like community tournaments, and it was a great weekend. We got to see some trailers for upcoming content. They revealed all of Guilty Gear Strive's next season in terms of characters. So we've got a couple of returning characters. We've got a character from the upcoming anime. And then we also have someone from Cyberpunk coming into Guilty Gear, which is pretty fucking cool.
That is cool.
Tekken.
I was going to say, when are we playing Cyberpunk for the podcast? But
I've put it on the list, I think.
Oh, the Northern boy has.
Oh, is he? I thought I did.
I believe so. Well, that's coming up in the future.
Yeah. And then we had Heihachi announced again for Tekken, which is interesting considering that every character in Tekken plus Harada, the director himself, have said Heihachi Mishima is completely dead, but now he's back. So that's cool. Why not?
I kind of figure with fighting games that if they put these characters in as DLC, do they have to include some kind of story bump with them?
Not necessarily, but the story.
So what's the problem?
The expansion story for Tekken 8 centers around Heihachi, it seems.
Okay, well that's maybe a bit stranger than I first thought.
Yeah, but it's Tekken. It's completely fucking nonsense.
Yeah,
I love Tekken, but its storyline is very goofy. What else?
That's why you like it.
Yeah. We had Terry Bogard and Mai from KOF announced for Street Fighter, which is great. That's a fun little crossover. Along with, I don't remember if we got gameplay of Elena for Street Fighter 6 or not, but I could be mistaken.
Was it at EVO that they announced all the new DLC characters for Mortal Kombat 1 as well?
No, that was at San Diego Comic-Con. They announced that there would be an announcement. That's what
I saw that one of the characters, is it the T-1000 from Terminator 2?
Yeah.
That's pretty badass.
That's pretty cool. And what's interesting as well is the guy is actually reprising the role to play the T-1000.
Nice.
But they've also got Sector and Cyrax from previous Mortal Kombat games. Noob Saibot, who I used to play in Mortal Kombat 1. I'm not much of an MK guy, but Noob Saibot was kind of my shit. But they also announced Ghostface from the Scream movies.
Weird one.
Well, they've done 80s horror a lot before. They've done Jason, they've done Freddy, they've done Leatherface. Ghostface was the only one that was really missing.
They're all quite... The characters themselves are all quite big guys that you've just listed there. I guess apart from Freddy, but he's a supernatural being, whereas Ghostface is just
a dude.
A dude.
Yeah. But then we've got the T-1000, which ties nicely into MK11's use of the Terminator as a DLC character. We've also got Conan the Barbarian coming
that's a weird one.
It doesn't surprise me. I mean...
Is that not the second Arnie character?
It is the second Arnie character, the first one being Terminator from the previous MK. But they've done... Ed Boon, I think, likes to reference a lot of 80s movies, because in... MK11, we had characters like the Joker, which obviously not necessarily an 80s character, but that's where the big up and coming thing was. But then we also had RoboCop and Rambo and the Terminator.
Yeah.
Whereas in the most recent MK, we've had characters like Omni-Man from Invincible, Homelander. Who was the other guest character in MK1 Season 1? MK1 Season 1. That's right. It was Peacemaker, who is the DC superhero played by John Cena.
Okay.
Yeah.
I watched something yesterday that John Cena surprisingly appeared in.
Was it Barbie?
No. I don't know if you have seen The Bear.
No. I know of The Bear, but I haven't seen it.
Oh, you should watch The Bear. The Bear is fucking 10 out of 10.
You said before.
But John Cena's in the third series.
That's very cool.
I'm actually amazed at how good an actor he is.
He's a pretty good actor.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry, you were talking about Evo.
Oh yeah, just those are the big headlines.
Okay.
Guilty Gear finally got its 3v3 mode, and it's a little too mental for my blood.
Okay.
But that's about it.
Nice. Okay, cool. Tim, should we move on to our new section?
Yeah, let's move on to our new section.
Renner up from the back. El Mahani right footed. Whips it. Oh, jeez, he beeps, man.
Now Sam Maxima might have a chance to run and does. Can he play a colleague through? It's Jacob Murphy. Released. Murphy 1-on-1. Jacob Murphy to win it. Oh, Dembele in the net!
Oh, O'Connell's mistake. McGinn.
And of course, I love this game!
So this is our new section. I love this game. Tim, what do you think of the jingle?
Pretty good.
Good?
Pretty good.
My favourite... So there's three pieces of commentary in there. I'll get into the jingle in a second. The first one is a classic. I think we've had it on the podcast before. Oh, Jeezy beeps, man.
Mm-hmm.
When the Scottish footballer misses the open goal by a mile. The second one is a game between Watford and Newcastle, and the commentary is taken from Newcastle Fan TV. And when clubs have fan TVs doing commentary, obviously they're fans of the club, but they're incredibly biased.
Sure, yeah.
And the Newcastle Fan TV guy, I think he's changed now, but he just used to be the angriest man. But Jacob Murphy, who was the player who was one-on-one with the keeper, he'd had a few chances that game, and the point where the fan, you can feel his whole emotion draining from him when he goes, "Oh, just put it in the net, man." And then the final one is, I had to put a Villa one in there. It's my favourite piece of commentary of all time. It was when Villa were playing Sheffield United. We went 3-0 down at half-time. and in the very last minute of the game, we drew 3-3. But the commentary line is O'Connell's mistake, McGinn, Green, and it gives me chills. I'll show you the video for that sometime. It absolutely gives me chills. But that's not what we're here to talk about. This section is just a mad shit story from football that I want to share with you, okay? So, Tim, we spoke about Newcastle a little bit before.
Mm-hmm.
Newcastle are very different to how they are now. Have been. Fucking hell. Newcastle have been very different to how they are now. I would say now that they do far more positive stuff. But there's something about Newcastle United that makes them a bit of a basket case of a club, right? And one of their ex-players, Steve Howie, went on a podcast recently, and he was talking about when Newcastle United were really struggling for form when he was in that. I can't remember the exact season that he was talking about, but Newcastle had lost loads of games in a row. They'd played really poorly, and the manager had thought, okay, we're gonna do a training session that's called shadow play.
Right.
And the point in shadow play is to practice your passing drills in a quote marks game setting, but you're not playing against anyone. So you can practice the passing. Imagine you're playing against someone. Get familiar with each other and the way you move. Bit of confidence because you're banging them in the net. You can't ever really miss. And they're playing 4-4-2. So that's 4 defenders, 4 midfielders, 2 attackers.
Okay.
And they're on a full-size pitch, but they're playing against nobody, right? So you get some goals, you go back to the centre circle, you practice your drills, you go again.
Bit of muscle memory.
Exactly. So a player called Kevin Scott passes the ball from kickoff to Steve Walton, who turns around to pass it back to the goalkeeper because Newcastle used to like to play out from the back. Right. Steve Watson passes to Tommy Wright, who was in goal. Tommy Wright was putting on his gloves at the time and missed that the ball was being passed to him. They went 1-0 down to absolutely nobody. Jesus. And the quote from Steve Howie is, we were being beat 1-0 and we weren't playing any fucker. We were having a really bad time at the moment, and you could see the manager rocking back and forth with his head in his hands. He's going, fucking hell, boys, we're shit. We're getting beat 1-0 and we're not playing anyone. That's how bad it was.
Jesus Christ, that's amazing.
So it was behind closed doors. There was no fans there, so no one would have known if Steve Howie hadn't told anyone, but it's pretty funny.
Sure, yeah.
It's pretty good. So that was my mad shit story for you, Tim.
That's pretty good.
Where do you want to go next? What would you like to do?
Should we keep the topic of sports going and talk about Gajira at the Olympics?
Oh, yeah. This was cool as fuck.
So, the Paris Olympics opened yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
You watched some of the ceremony, of course, because you put this on the running order.
But
did you catch
I saw it on Twitter.
Of it? Oh, you did.
I saw it on Twitter.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you catch any of the ceremony, or
no? Other than this, did you?
Weird.
Saw a man flailing his arms around over his head.
Yeah.
And the caption is "Me when a bee gets near me."
Yeah. There was a man painted blue, sat on a raft.
And the man behind him had his bollocks out. I don't know if you saw that.
Didn't see the bollocks.
Yeah, there were bollocks.
Great.
But the coolest bit was it Marie Antoinette who was beheaded, who introduced them.
Correct. Yeah.
So Marie Antoinette was my guest for last week's pub quiz question of the week. So I actually manifested this to happen.
You're also welcome.
Yeah, you are so welcome. But Marie Antoinette basically introduced heavy metal band Gojira, and there were columns of fire as they blasted heavy metal from the side of a fucking castle. It was incredible.
But when Joey says, like, on the side of a castle, they hadn't built a stage on the side of the castle. The individual members would have basically stood on window ledges.
Amazing. It was absolutely amazing.
It was an incredible set.
So I saw Gojira probably 14, 15, maybe 17 or 18 years ago.
I think I saw them at
Trivium.
I think I saw them support at Sonosphere about 14 years ago.
And they were immense back then.
Mm-hmm.
And they look just as good as they did then now.
Yeah, just incredible stuff.
If you like heavy metal and you don't mind the French, watch Gojira play live, because
the French are redeemed, in my opinion.
Well, Tim sent me exactly those words. I sent him this on WhatsApp.
Yeah.
I said, how fucking cool is this? And you just sent me back 2 words, France redeemed.
But in Dark Souls font.
Yeah, it was good. It was really good. I think that heavy metal should be more embraced in the mainstream.
So I was talking with Payne about this, because we were saying that Birmingham as a city, because the one where you grew up, I love Birmingham. I'll always have a soft spot for Birmingham, but it's really disappointing to see the state that it's in at the minute.
In what way?
Well, the council's broke.
Everywhere's broke, Tim.
I know everywhere's broke, but
Tories broke it.
Well, yes, I know. But the thing that I think, I'm not going to say could fix it, but could certainly help, is it feels like Birmingham doesn't really lean into its tourism potential. So like, I was like doing some looking up about like whether or not Birmingham has a heavy metal museum as the birthplace of heavy metal. There is one room in a building in the custard factory in Digbeth that showcases some of the metal origins. And
it's quite sad.
It's really. Oh, sorry. There's also a bench in Smethwick that's commemorated to Black Sabbath.
No, there's a star on Broad Street for Black Sabbath as well.
I just feel like, with bands like Led Zeppelin, Judas Priest, Black Sabbath, Jasper Carrot.
Yeah, big heavy metal band.
But like, I would love to see, and you know what? If someone is into their wordplay, Birmingham was like the center of the Industrial Revolution in Europe. We could play it into like like an old steel factory and be like, oh, there's a heavy metal factory. Get it? And the history buffs will like it.
That is why it's called heavy metal.
Exactly. But like Joey's rapidly shaking his head for me to back up on that point. I'm leaning into it. But I would love to see like an old steel factory or something repurposed into like a metal museum. And it doesn't even necessarily have to just be Birmingham, but as the birthplace of metal, I feel like they could have a bit of a claim to that. Get some guitars from bands that have played at like the NEC or the NIA or whatever the fuck they're called these days.
Well, Villa recently relaunched their new kit this season, and Ozzy Osbourne and Geezer Butler both appeared in the kit launch, which was pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
For those who don't know, Ozzy Osbourne and Geezer Butler, obviously Black Sabbath, so leaning into that metal thing. So there's obviously a bit of
there's interest,
local pride there from those people. I think it'd be a very cool thing to see.
Like, I get that not everyone's a metalhead, but metal's like a pretty world-renowned genre at this point, and it near enough started in Birmingham.
I can't pretend I know the history well enough to say that, but I know Black Sabbath were pioneers, and they obviously were Birmingham. So
Led Zeppelin as well, for example.
Yeah. I've told you I met Ozzy Osbourne, haven't I?
You have, yeah. I think
what a lovely guy.
Yeah.
What a lovely man. Came and shook my hand and said, "You did a good job."
Then he hooked on an oxygen tank.
Well, he really did have to have oxygen on the side of the stage.
I know. In case he keels over mid-set.
Him and Sharon were there. They both shook all of the staff hands and told them how good a job they did, which no other band has ever done that when playing one of those venues. He was just a lovely bloke.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, really lovely bloke.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Birmingham do sort of lean into it more. So Black Sabbath closed the Commonwealth Games. They have that giant mechanical bull in New Street. I don't know if you've seen it.
I have. I saw it when it was out.
That's called Ozzy the Bull. If anyone hasn't seen it and wants to, remind me. I have a photo of him, and he is cool as hell.
Yeah, it's a big moving mechanical bull, but not like a rodeo one. Like, it looks like a moving sculpture statue, and like when it was active, it had like smoke coming out of its nose, like that.
Yeah, every 15 minutes, its eyes glow, and it looks around the station. That's basically it.
That's how the government keeps an eye on you.
Yeah. It's not been about
Bulls
since
aren't
the Tories
real.
have gone. Weird.
They got rid of it. Put it in the cave.
Exactly. But yeah, I think you're right. I think there could be definitely more done there. But God knows what.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not in the position to be making those calls, and I'm sure that if I'm honest, it wouldn't surprise me if someone had considered a metal museum in Birmingham, but it ain't there right now, and it's one of the things that Birmingham is very much on the map for.
Yeah, I also don't think it helps that there's this stupid myth that Birmingham is an absolute shithole. I've been to other cities that are much more of a shithole than Birmingham.
Looking at you, Hull.
Well, I mean, Hull is quite famously a shithole.
Yeah.
But
shithole.
Shithole, yeah. I'm not going to name names, but there are other cities that are much less nice to be in than Birmingham.
Should we Exeter out this bit?
Never been to Exeter, so...
Oh, yeah, it wasn't blown away. So from everyone that I've spoken to after our trip to Exeter, everyone I've spoken to says all the cool things in Exeter are on the outskirts of Exeter.
Oh, that's a good sign, isn't it?
Great sign.
Is Exeter a city or a town?
It's a city. It's a city of literature, and they do not lean into it.
Well, then maybe they need a literature museum.
Maybe they fucking should.
Right, Tim, let's go on to Movie Club.
Yeah, let's talk about movies.
Movies.
It's movies. We watched Popstar, Don't Stop, Never Stop Stopping. Was it?
Yeah, that was the one.
That's the one. Sorry, I'm desperately pulling up the IMDb page. For those who don't know, it's the Lonely Island movie.
Yeah, it is. Tim, I really liked last time's discussion on Barbie. What I really liked was giving you a 2-minute window to explain the whole synopsis.
Can you do the same for this, please?
No, you're telling it because that's what you do for movies. So, here we go. 2 minutes starts now.
So, Jake Peralta from Brooklyn Nine-Nine is a pop star in a band with the other guys from the Lonely Island that no one else really seems to recall the names of. And Jake Peralta's a bit of a knob, and he ends up going solo and becomes this musician called Johnny Chance. What was it? Something like that?
Connor for real.
That's it, Connor for real. Where'd I get Johnny Chance?
Johnny Chance.
Johnny Chance. And it's a whole story about how he goes on tour after his album's not doing well and he's not feeling the validation, and he ends up reuniting with his old bandmates, and he learns a lesson in friendship. The end.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
There's songs. There's a guy who's obviously meant to be Tyler, the Creator.
Yes.
There's actual celebrities. Which
there is a ton of celebrities in this.
Is this the first time you've seen it?
Yeah, I've never seen it before.
Okay, what did you think?
It was about what I expected from the Lonely Island movie.
Did it make you laugh out loud?
There were points that I laughed. Sorry, I'm just turning on my light because I've just realised how fucking dark it in here is after the IMDb page blinded me. There were points that I laughed. Sure. It was just fine. It's about what I expected from a Lonely Island film. What I didn't expect, and obviously I know the Lonely Island don't bring in celebrity cameos all the time for their songs. Obviously, their whole thing is that they're the band from SNL. Yeah, but there was a lot of celebrities in this, including people like James Buckley from The Inbetweeners, who played like the British friend. But then there's like Usher, Nas, 50 Cent, Simon Cowell, Adam Levine, Akon, Mariah Carey, Pink, DJ Khaled, ASAP Rocky, Eric Andre, Bill Hader, Danger Mouse, fucking Seal was in there for a bit. Paul Shear was in there for a bit. Martin Sheen was there for a while. Yeah, and Snoop Dogg. And Michael Bolton was in there and he played a piano number, which was interesting.
Incredible Thoughts was that song.
Absolutely. So it was interesting to see all these celebrities just kind of rammed into this movie, but it wasn't done in a, hey, look at this celebrity, well, now look at this celebrity kind of thing. It almost felt authentic because the whole thing is framed as a documentary where the celebrities are there to talk about Connor. I was about to call him Charlie Real then. Connor for real.
Charlie Chance.
Charlie Chance. They're there to talk about Charlie Chalk. And so the framing device makes sense for all the celebrities to have in there. But every time someone popped up, I was like, oh shit, okay.
What was your favourite song?
I mean, the one that immediately comes to mind is Fucked Like Bin Laden.
Yeah. It's a good one. So the premise of that song is, well, the lyrics are: finest girl I ever met in my whole life. Wanna something make her my wife. Knew she was a freak when she started talking. She said, "Fuck me like we fucked Bin Laden."
Yeah. I also really like the Spanish tour song.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Where there's a whole interview with Connor for real, where he's like, "Well, I realized in Spain that they don't say s, they say they have a tuth." So we made a song that revolved entirely around that.
The best bit in that song is our tummies are full of paella.
Paella.
Good. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, no, it's a fine movie. I don't know that I'd go rushing back to it, but I wouldn't turn it off again. I wouldn't turn it off if I saw it on again.
You wouldn't turn it off again?
Wouldn't turn it off again. I'd turn it off halfway through. I was done. No, I wouldn't turn it off if it was on, but I don't think I'm going to be like, oh, do you know what I really fancy watching? Popstar Never Stop Stopping.
See, I'm the opposite. I chose this because I've seen it 2 times before and thought, oh, I really fancy watching Popstar Never Stop Stopping. There's something about Andy Samberg's humour that really clicks with me. It's so dumb.
And I like dumb humour.
Oh, but there's bits like when he's proposing to his girlfriend, and the way that he's proposing is having Seal serenade them while he's on one knee and they're surrounded by wolves, but Seal's tones are angering the wolves and they break free and just attack and kill Seal. It's just so good.
Like, there's the part as well where they're talking about, like, I don't remember if it's like how the album's doing or something like that, but they're sat outside and they're like, can we turn the cameras off for a second and talk about that? And like they've kept the audio recording, they've kept the transcript, and like some bees come along and they swat away the bees, and there's a giant queen bee that comes along, but it's all in audio transcript.
Yeah, and then so they're talking about how it's the biggest bee they've ever seen, and it's like 6 foot tall, and they kill it, and they're like, did you catch it on camera? And you just hear the cameraman go, you told us to turn it off.
Yeah.
It's
very Lonely Island, which is fine. I like Lonely Island, but
yeah,
it's just, it didn't exceed any expectations, but equally I don't think it had to, and I don't think it was aiming to.
No, I thought it was good, and actually I've got to be honest with you, Tim. Every now and then I listen to the soundtrack on Spotify because it makes me laugh.
Yeah, it's a good soundtrack.
But Hunter the Hungry, who's based on Tyler the Creator, I don't know what Tyler the Creator did to Andy Samberg that made him do this, but Hunter is an asshole.
Yeah.
But his song is quite good as an actual song.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
That's not why I like it, but I do.
I have heard, though, that Andy Samberg is a bit of a do you know who I am kind of guy.
That doesn't surprise me.
No. I don't know if it's true, but it's what I've heard.
And spoiler for next time I choose to, I'm going to make you watch Hot Rod, which is basically another Lonely Island movie.
The only thing I remember about the Hot Rod movie is the flash dance.
I'm going to go to my quiet place, and it's just him dancing in the woods.
Yeah, and he falls down a hill for 10 minutes.
So good.
Weird movie.
Tim, what did you give it out of 10?
What did I give this out of 10? Let me pull up my IMDb. I gave it a 6.
That's quite harsh.
Like I say, it was fine. It was fine.
That's quite harsh. I'm going to give it a 7.5. 3/4 good.
3/4 good.
3/4 good. That's 3.5 thumbs up.
All right, great.
Okay, cool. Tim, let's do some jokes.
Well, hang on. The movie we're picking next week.
Let's do some. No, go on. Sorry.
I'm gonna stick with a vein of stupid movies. I'm gonna go with Team America because it's been a while since I've seen it.
Yes, I fucking love this film.
It's
right,
phenomenal.
Joke time.
That's pretty funny, to be fair. That joke was weak. I misread that as that's the joke of the week.
So this is our Joke of the Week section where Tim and I tell each other jokes. The point is to make the other one laugh, but when that person laughs, the section ends, and the joke that made them laugh is our joke of the week. Tim, how many jokes do you have?
I got 10.
Me too. I'm going to be a gentleman and say you can go first, though.
All right, cool. I'll be honest, I don't remember if one or two of these I've used last week because I forgot to update my list.
Cool.
So, let's have a look here.
Start at the bottom then and go top.
Laughing gas smells kind of weird. It literally smells funny.
Nah, not that good. No,
No.
sorry.
All right.
Tim, can a frog jump higher than a house?
Yes.
Of course it can. Houses can't jump.
Classic. A duck's standing next to a busy road with cars zooming past, and as he waits for a break in traffic, a chicken walks up to him and says, "Don't do it. You'll never hear the end of it."
I like it. As a side note, whilst listening to our episode last week, Dan, the lovely Dan, who you heard at the start of the episode, got in touch with us and was saying that he was walking past a pond when we were talking about a documentary, and in his head he went, huh, documentary?
Bless
Which
that
is
man.
good. Documentary could be our joke of the week, but it's not. Tim, why did the produce manager not make it to work?
What's that?
He could drive, but he didn't avocado.
That's really good. That is really... I had no idea where that was going.
You were close.
Yeah. I keep accepting all cookies on websites, but so far, nothing. No.
No, sorry. Tim,
What a poor this week.
why did the old man fall down the well?
You couldn't see that well.
He didn't see that well.
There are only two things that I don't eat for breakfast: lunch and dinner.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's better than your other ones, but it's still not very good, Tim. Did you hear about the guy who went to the doctor for a headache?
No.
The doctor examined his ear and found loads of money. He kept pulling it out and out and out until he had £1,999. The doctor said, "No wonder you're not feeling $2,000." Yes, that's it. That's the joke of the week.
That's fucking great. That's pretty funny, to be fair. That joke was weak. I misread that as that's the joke of the week.
So the joke of the week is, did you hear about the guy who went to the doctor for a headache? The doctor examined his ear and found money. He kept pulling it out and out until he had £1,999, and the doctor said, "No wonder you're not feeling $2,000."
That's really good.
I'm glad you enjoyed it, Tim. I'm really glad you enjoyed it. Right, we've got a couple of things left to talk about. One of them I think we need to talk about, and that's the second one on the running order. But Tim, you've added something about British headlines.
Oh, yeah, no, I was in a Discord call with a few friends the other night, and we just found a thread of British headlines, and I just want to see what reactions they get out of you.
Okay, let's do it.
American news is often criticised for being sensationalised. Rightfully so, a lot of the time. But there's a couple of tabloid newspapers over here in the UK that really love to go out there with headlines. I'm not going to name the newspapers.
Scumbag newspapers is what you're saying.
Pretty much, yeah. The first article I found here: men untangle seagull from net on golf course and feed it Greggs.
Very good. I mean, that tells you the story, doesn't it?
It does. I got the whole thing. There was I can't find the headline now, but there was the one about the bright orange bird that people thought was like tropical, but it just turned out to be a seagull that had fallen into turmeric.
Very good.
So what's amazing about that article, though, if I can find it, I will. But if you look at the recommended articles for that, the first two stories that come up are two other stories about seagulls that have also fallen into curry.
Jesus Christ.
I don't know why it's I don't know why it's such a common occurrence. There's one which is duck wearing bow tie walks into pub, drinks pint, fights dog, loses.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yep. Dead leopard on A4. I'll start that again. Dead leopard on A646 turns out to be a coat.
Oh, it's quite sad.
Yeah. Zoo separates 5 parrots after birds were caught encouraging each other to swear at guests.
Yeah, okay. People do that everywhere, though.
I do. I can remember going to a school trip, and being told by the teachers to not listen to the minor birds.
Because it tells you to fuck off.
The minor birds tell people to fuck off.
So good.
There's drive-by yogurt attack on crochet teacher's haberdashery leaves her shaken.
I like it.
Yeah. Let me find the other thread. There was a thread. I am going to name the newspaper in this case. The Daily Sport.
Okay.
Right. Daily Sport, piece of shit newspaper. But yeah, they seem to have run with this series of headlines of celebrity porn dwarf doubles in bad scenarios. So the really famous one is like Gordon Ramsay dwarf porn double eaten by a badger.
So good.
There's so many headlines like that. There's one here that I've got: Gareth Southgate sex dwarf runs amok in fish shop. There's Jeremy Corbyn sex dwarf eaten by otters. There's Boris Johnson sex dwarf drowns in giant trifle.
What?
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah.
So what I'm learning is don't be a celebrity sex dwarf.
There's the one that you talked about a little while ago, which was 10 years ago. I made the lotto. The lotto made me a millionaire, and now I suck off dogs for quavers.
So funny. But
in that same newspaper, World Cream Egg up the bum champion eaten by crocodile.
Good. I mean, yeah.
I've just another one here. Local man arrested for twatting a heron.
I've got one for you, Tim, from the... Oh, I wasn't going to say it. I'm not going to say it. The headline is, Sex with Greg's pasty boiled my bell end.
The Sun came out with one which was Zip Me Up Before You Go Go. George Michael nicked in sex act in Lou.
Oh, God. There's another headline, another genuine headline. Sex with Tesco value lasagna blistered my bell end.
Why are people having sex with food products?
Stop fucking food. This other one is, I bonked 500 women pretending to be James May.
Yeah. There's a seagull. There's a comment on this one article that just says, "Oh no, I'm a seagull and I'm stuck in a net."
Oh God!
If anyone wants a fun time and you live in the States, look up British news headlines, not the serious ones. You want to go to the horrible tabloids because they are a riot.
I'm going to run you through a couple that I found here, Tim.
Yep.
World War II's best kept secret: Adolf Hitler was a woman.
Wow.
That's your one. Hide and seek champion found dead in cupboard.
Yeah. Foul-mouthed parrot on the loose.
Well, there you go. Then Grandbit flashes Willy with antique false teeth. Knickknacks turned my bell end orange.
Stop having sex with food. Police admit biggest ever cocaine haul is dental powder.
Finally, Tim, let's end this because this could go on forever. My favourite one I've seen is the question we all need to ask. Why did this man push 114 Watsons up his bottom?
Why did he do that?
Why did he do that? Right, Tim.
Yep.
You did something fun yesterday?
This morning. I've booked something that I've been meaning to do for years. My prostate.
Bucket list.
No, we did it. We booked our trip to Japan.
Nice.
Yeah, going for 2 weeks at the start of next year. We haven't got all too much planned just yet because we bought the tickets somewhere about 12 hours ago. But we're going to Japan at the end of February. We're going to be out there for Mine and Pain's anniversary. Our anniversary is actually the Emperor's birthday, and there's a big old holiday on that day.
Just tell everyone it's for you.
Yeah, it's a.
Tim blew a kiss for our listeners.
No, just go. No, it's so we're going to try and get into this thing that you can do where on the Emperor's birthday, people line up to be welcomed into a crowd in, like I guess the palace, if you like, and They're let out in groups, and the emperor will come out onto a balcony, wave at the people, and they all shout Banzai at him for about 3 minutes, and then he fucks off back inside, and then the crowd leaves, and they do that again for like 4 hours.
Sounds like a shit birthday.
Every year for this guy. So we're going to try and get in the crowd. We're going to try and get in the crowd. Apparently, if you're a guest that's doing it, it only takes about an hour. It's not too bad.
What, to shout Banzai at an old man?
He's not actually that old, this emperor.
How old is he?
I don't know. He was only made emperor in like 2019.
I mean, that doesn't mean anything, really. I don't know how old an emperor is made an emperor, but...
Current Japanese emperor.
I really thought adding the soundboard into our recording and being able to not have to have all the jingles separate would make editing easier, but you are determined this week to really fuck me over with this editing.
So he was born on February 23rd, 1960.
I mean, he's still 64 years old this year.
He is 64 years old this year.
So you're going to shout Banzai at a 64-year-old man.
While he waves at us. And he just happens to be the ruler of Japan.
And that's like your idea of a romantic day with your girlfriend.
I'm going to send you a screenshot. This is from the top of the Wikipedia article. This is how fucking bad weebs are. Can you just do me a favour? Can you read those first 2 sentences?
This article is about the Emperor of Japan. For other people with this name, see Naruhito. Naruhito, not to be confused with Naruto, the Japanese manga series.
Jesus Christ, weebs, get it together.
Right, Tim, what else are you doing apart from shouting Banzai at an old man? Are you going to let Payne eat anything in this trip? Or?
Yes, we've talked about this. She'll be able to eat.
Good, okay.
So I know that we're going to Osaka, Kobe, Kyoto. We're debating going to Nara, but they're all kind of like, southern to kind of mid-southern Japan. But we're going to be spending most of our time in Tokyo.
How will you get there?
Plane.
Bus.
Not quite. That might be a very long bus, but we've got to get a flight that goes from London to China, and then from China to Japan.
Get a bus from China to Japan.
There's a big body of water in the middle. Don't know if you know that.
Get an aqua bus.
A boat.
One of those that used to go off Portsmouth Harbour, the duck boats.
What, they have them in London, I think.
Why the hell would they have a duck boat in London, Tim?
For the Thames.
What right-minded person is going to go to London and go, I want to go in the fucking Thames?
Do you know there are sharks in the Thames? Oh, no, we talked about this.
Yeah, we spoke about this very thing a few weeks ago.
The old folks home sure is comfortable.
Actually, Tim, I don't think we've spoken since I finished Under Paris.
Oh, yeah, what did you make of the rest of the movie?
It was so dumb. I loved it.
All of France is underwater.
The whole thing. That bit made no sense. It was like,
really dumb.
Let's get rid of the sharks. How are we going to do that? By giving them more of their natural environment. What the fuck are you on about?
You know what humans need more of? Land.
You know what humans need more of? Isolated areas where angry sharks surround you at every corner. Just sounds great. What? Anyway, Tim, let's do our pub quiz question. We'll talk more about your Japan trip next week because I imagine you'll have some more plans by then. But
yes,
very cool that you're going. Very, very good. Happy for you because I know you've wanted to do it for a very long time.
Years and years and years. And Payne has been wanting to go back for years and years and years, and we're finally doing it.
Yeah, so you need to learn how to say take that, you bastard, in Japanese.
It's arigato gozaimasu.
Is it?
No. I know bastard is kisama.
How'd you say take that, you?
Do you know what? It's not going to be at all accurate, but let me see what Google Translate comes back with.
Okay, well, while you're doing that, I mean, we'll do some shout-outs. Tim's going to finish the show with Google Translated Take That, You Bastard. I want to shout out the usual, the ever-present and ever-fantastic Josh Scar from Talking Smack. Listen to Talking Smack. That is one of my favourites. I also want to shout out the Northern Boy, who is officially announced as Alex. He has a name, he's a real person, and he's our fourth host on the Game Club pod, which is very exciting. Obviously, the lovely Dan who's had a couple of mentions, and Slade and the Pod Pack people, all of them are amazing, and you should check them out if you are so inclined.
Yeah, and our Discord user of the week, by the way, is going to be Liv.
Up the Liv from...
Up the Liv.
Well then, thanks Liv. I hope you feel
Liv.
happy. Put it on your CV. Tim, what was our pub quiz question of the week?
Pub quiz question of the week is, what is the only tennis Grand Slam played on a clay surface?
I think it's Australia.
It is not. It's the French Open.
Bugger. Oh well.
Oh, bugger.
Oh well. Okay, Tim, anything you want to say to the ever-loving audience?
I'm going to butcher this because I'm using Google Translate, but sore o ukete konoyaro.
それを受け取ってこの野郎
Sorio, Konio, Kokote, you bastards. See you in a week's time. Bye. You fucking weeb. I just tried to just leave the call then rather than stop it.
Just leave me to it.